in this particular session, it's indeed a pleasure to introduce to you the next speaker. Dr. Rumpa Wig hails from Bhopal, and she, in the last decade and more, has taken it upon herself to share the beautiful tenets of aesthetic and cosmetic dentistry to her fellow clinicians across the country, across the border to the subcontinent. And I say this because I know that she is a big hit in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. Apart from that, Rumpa occupies the very prestigious seat as President-elect of the Indian Academy of Aesthetic and Cosmetic Dentistry. And she's actively involved currently in managing the website of theiaacd.com. Rumpa, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Kumar sir. Coming on. I have to optimize, right? Thank you, Kumar sir. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. It's a beautiful Sunday and 6th of September, and yesterday was Teachers' Day. So with this start of my presentation, I extend my gratitude to Dr. Anil Arora, Kumar Sir U, Messe Düsseldorf India, E-Famdent and FutureDent, and M&M Dental Associates. You know, from you and Anil Sir, apart from dentistry, we have learned so much more about life, and that's a treasure. So without taking much time for this intro, let me move on to what I'm here today for. Now, the teeth live in a biological soup. Enamel is a semi-permeable membrane, and there's a constant flow of fluids outward the pulp. Well, what's the buzz about this bioactive preventive materials? To cut a long story short, if I start explaining the genesis of the word bioactivity in dentistry to what it means today, let me make it very, very simple for you. You may be having a lot of words being thrown at you while it comes to the term bioactive, namely ions, recharge, release, calcium, fluoride, aberrite, etc. Choose wisely. Now, some studies refer to GIs and RMGIs as bioactive because of the significant release of ions. Now, the definition of bioactivity has evolved beyond the release and recharge and must include appetite formation. It is critical to identify what is bioactive and what is not. So make our lives simple. Let's just separate the appetite forming products from the non-appetite forming ones, and our life becomes simple. Now just imagine we are prepping a cavity or we are doing a crown prep. So enamel and dentine are subject to microcracks as a result of the effect of the burrs, occlusal forces, dental materials, and of course caries. Appetite formation can heal these deformities with a kinetic response from the tooth structure itself. So coming down to Activa Bioactive. Why Activa Bioactive should be a part of our regular clinical dentistry and why we love this material so much. Let's take a look. It's a 2020 must-have product, and why? Because not only that, it's got a constant 6-year standing ovation by Dental Advisor, Dentistry Today, and many more who have rated Activa as the top product. But doesn't matter. You know, what we need to see is why is it there? Because it's there. First and foremost reason, it's bioactive and it's easy to use clinically. Chair side time is greatly reduced. integrates into the tooth like butter with invisible margins, and the ion exchange happens even through a cured bonded layer. There's a rubber molecule incorporated in the resin, which makes it resistant to chipping, fracture, and it flexes with the tooth. It's great for pedo, great for kids. This material allows us to do bulk fill. It's meant for bulk fill, but if you want to do a layering, you can go ahead and layer this. From pit fissure to class 1s to direct full mouth rehabs, this material allows us all. And the ionic hydrophilic matrix and the little bit of GI component in it, it allows chemical integration to the tooth. And it's not friends with biofilms. Think about what positive impact it has on the restoration, the tooth which has been restored, and the neighboring teeth as well. So coming to each point one by one, why is Activa loved by one and all? So if we see when we do a restoration with Activa, there, and with the Demon and the Riemann cycle, it's constantly exchanging the ions, the calcium, fluoride, and phosphate. And that's on the outer surface of the restoration. From inner surface, this exchange happens through the dentinal fluids. Now, what happens when these ions come out or go back in the tooth? The process of biomineralization takes place. Biomineralization process, actually, it requires crystalline structures with specific ionic properties and of the appropriate size to organize and form a biologic appetite. Essentially, if the proper building blocks are provided and water is present, remineralization can occur. Calcium, phosphate, along with water are the essential components for this natural remineralization process. That's how it works. That means even after we have placed the restoration, light cure, checked occlusion, finished polish, send the patient off, this is still alive. This restoration stays alive. Now, a little about contacts. We may have 5,000 Facebook contacts. We may have 10,000 because one profile allows 5,000. We may have 15,000. And then we have the connections. Now, all your contacts, if I may ask you, are very well connected to you? I don't think so. We have a lot of contacts, but connection happens only with a few handful, with whom there's no faking, it's true, and you are happy as a soul when you connect with them. Why am I putting this slide here is according to me, having worked with Activa since April 2014, I feel Activa connects to the tooth and just does not make a contact. No? So coming down to the clinical acumens, what do we need to do a restoration with this? A good etch, good bond, a good light curing unit, and of course, Activa restorative. A good etch, of course, please feel free to use any etchant which is there in your clinic right now. What I would look for is excellent control while placing on thin enamel margins and washes away easily as to not leave any residual etch to cause any bonding issues. To Sharana, control and safety are the two things we look at. And again, coming to adhesives, use anything, no worries. A preferential mention on my part will be Unotio. Why? Only and only because it becomes a dual cure adhesive for me. It does not remain only light cure. So what you do is 2 drops of Uno, add to it 1 drop of Duo, and we get a fabulous dual cure bonding agent. Think what great help it can be when you're doing a deep cavity where you do not know your light is going to penetrate that depth of maybe more than 4.5 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, we do not know. Those are the cases this helps. Coming down to a good curing light. Now, the blue light, what effect does it have on the restoration and on the eye? On the restoration, if we are placing the light cure gun from the occlusal surface, as we go deep, the degree of conversion tends to become less and less. I'm talking about general light cure guns, right? And all the people world over, we are exposed to the blue light, namely with our cell phones, with monitor, with the tab, ceiling overhead lights, and so many other sources. But we, as dentists, we are more prone to the blue light hazards. Our light cure gun, our chairside overhead lamp, and our so many other lamps which we normally tend to use. So what happens here? The visible light ambient radiation endangers the eye, especially in people above 40 years of age. The naturally protective antioxidants are reducing, and the light-absorbing endogenous phototoxic chromophores are increasing. So the 400 to 440 nanometers range, the risk is more for AMD and retinal damage. Of course, filtering lights, lenses can reduce the hazard, and 480 nanometers is actually essential to trigger the circadian rhythm. What effect does it have? Now, excessive exposure to blue light suppresses the secretion of melatonin, a hormone that influences the circadian rhythms. Even a dim light can interfere with a person's circadian rhythm and melanin secretion. Wow. Please note this and watch this when you have a little free time. Blue Light Hazard, How Worried Should We Be? A masterpiece by Dr. Richard Price. He's a well-known name regarding light cures, the curing lights, and Dr. Jack Ferrakin. Please note this down and watch. It changes the way you think about light cure guns. So here, coming to clinics, a class 5 I etched, bonded Activa A1. This was done way back in 2016. And last year, this was the follow-up. No chipping, no staining, all well. Why? Why? Because of the rubber molecule which is inside the resin. This absorbs stress, resists wear and fracture, chipping even in the thin areas on the bevel margins. So coming to what to do. So these are the restorations, and we are going to see exactly how to do it. Kumar sir, I have picked up this phrase, how to, from you, because this happens to be your brainchild. Thank you. Next points about, the good points about Activa, easy to use clinically. It's not technique sensitive at all, very easy to do. And the chairside dime is greatly reduced. Integrates into the tooth like butter with invisible margins and allows us to do both bulk fill or layering technique as the case may be. So let's take a look what we need to do in clinic. First is bevel. Once you've done, etch. This stays where it is supposed to be. I'm going to select an edge here, wash, keep it slightly moist, coming to my adhesive, going to remove to make it uniform. Trying to engage all the walls thinly, uniformly, to the best of our ability. S in the lesson and light cure. This method, given with Activa, is very easy to bend. You can make a single bend at 30, 45, 90, or you can make double bends also. I'll show you a little first because it's a dual barrel and start placing. While placing, place it at the base of the cavity we have prepped and taking care not to take the tip out of the respirator at any given time. Avoid incorporating air bubbles. We do not like to leak it. We allow this material to split tripod and temperature every 45 seconds. By the time fresh drawing process is started off, you can spread it over the people, trying to create an occlusion pattern which makes the difference between the hand and the head. After 45 seconds, you will get the rib lines and all. I do not know how to try to make like this, but I feel first from the okay, and then the back side. And this is exactly the amount of time we will take. Next, check occlusion. Luckily, my patient Louis today has a crown prep as contralateral to the one we have restored. So check, tap, 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 and then lateral excursive movements. Finish, polish according to the way, whichever system you have right now in your clinic will do. Conversation concerning bulk fill materials, and we are trying to find quicker ways to restore the tooth, especially these times. I don't want to mention the word COVID because it's like in our brains all the time, buzz, buzz, buzz. But still, if we can find a material that can restore the tooth quickly, it helps during these times. And Activa requires a special delivery unit. With this material, my pedo practice has vastly increased. Again, because of less chairside time. So that's Mehak and that's Abdul. For the details, you can please check this URL. I have given you the link, www.polprint.com/everychilddeservescare. So I'm not going into details with this, but pedo is a breeze, according to me. I never did much pedo before. Another case by Dr. Nels Evolson, a child comes to him with rampant decay and single visit treatment with Activa. This is what we can get. It allows us to do multiple restorations at a time. So how can we do an MOD? Let's check that out. Again, edge, inside this comment. By watch or enamel, it should be 13 to 15 seconds and dentin 5 to 6 seconds. Adhesive, because the MOD is deep, again I prefer a dual layer adhesive. Fix it up. You can see, because it's a dual barrel, the two come to the mixing tip and get mixed and become homogeneous. Another difference with composite is that the filler particles and the resin, they don't stay separate after curing, they become one. It becomes completely homogeneous. Same time, you can start the deep part and start squeezing and the done. This is the amount of time we take with the patients during restoration also. Spread it out on the field. And here I'm using the macro system from BioClear. very, very convenient to do because it gives me very predictable contacts and contours. I don't have to think much while finishing and polishing. So, like that. Disengage the wedge. And remove the matrices. Check. And then going for regular finishing polishing. I found that over time, Activa is a very reliable and easy to use bulk fill material for many reasons. First of all, it has low shrinkage and it can cure in all aspects regardless of whether the curing light penetrates through all the way or not. This is due to Activa's triple curing mechanism. This is a unique feature owing to the resin chemistry. Now here, class 1s to full mouth rehabs. Multiple restorations at a time, class 1 done by Dr. Ron Kaminer. And this is a direct full mouth case done after 2 tutorial webinars by me with Dr. Rupali. She has done this and that's all. For details, I'm not sharing the details here because of lack of time, but there are plenty of Activa clinical aspects, all right? This was, I just had 1 hour and 10 minutes to do this. She's not from Bhopal. She came to me telling me she works in a bank and she says, I have to catch the evening train to Pune, 4:45 or something. She comes to me by 2:45, 3-ish. I start the work and she has to be out of my clinic by 4. So I didn't have much time. So quick direct videos with Activa. And a case done by my very dear friend, Dr. Raymond Kimsey from Florida, direct veneers with Activa. So it allows you to do everything you would know.
Rumpa, in case you're playing another video, just lower the volume of the video. Thank you.
Okay, sir. We'll do it right away. Okay. Thank you, sir. So if we check the attributes of the tooth structure, normal tooth, it's aesthetic, it's hydrophilic, pH adjusting, high strength, releases calcium phosphate and fluoride, stimulates appetite formation, shock absorbent, flexible, resists chipping and cracking. So these are all the good attributes of our tooth. Now, if we are using restorative materials, how many yeses can you see matching with the tooth? Out of all the 3, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which I can tick. And if I compare that to the bioactive restoratives, all are yes. So that tells us a big, huge story. A common question asked to me whenever I go to lecture and take workshops on Activa around the world, ma'am, can we use Activa with our regular composites? Oh yes, a definite yes. So let me show you a case. It's like, yeah, Trump and Biden, different parties, Activa and composites, different genre. But yes, they can work together, but not these two. These two ain't going to work together. So sharing a case from very good friend again, Dr. Greg Brambilla from Milan. Thanks, Greg, for sharing this case. That's the pre-op. Isolated. Cavity opened up. And we can see once we have opened, there's a tunnel. Etch, enamel etch 15 seconds. Place the adhesive. You can use a base liner because it's a deep one. Here, Greg is using Activa base liner, but please feel free to use whatever you have with you. So that's the Activa base liner. And then we place the restorative. Let me go back one slide. And here you can see it can be bent double. Once at the base, so you can bend this tip however you like. So start placing. The shade here used is A3.5. And once done, the mesial closure has been done. And now you come to your dentine composite, start building it up, and enamel composite. And you can use the stains like Greg has done. That's final and This is after finishing polishing. Big thanks to you, Greg, for sharing this case with me. And that's the final. So this is how we can do restorations together. So if you don't use the bioactive base liner, we can use another good product, which is Limelight Enhanced. Why? Because it's moisture tolerant, it's radio opaque, and it's got a universal dentine shade. How to use this? Prep the cavity, place the Limelight Enhanced, light cure for 20 seconds, and once you've done that, etch, bond, and we can place our regular choice of restorative material that we have in our clinic. So that's how it's used. Showing you a case of multiple restorations at a single go and how to layer Activa, you know?
Lower it further, please. Lower it further.
Okay. So prep, etch, adhesive, air dry, the adhesive. Second code asks for the instructions of the adhesives which we can use. Like your start building cusp with initial layering. Okay, this place, have your each placement. Now you can take Activa on your glove and scoop it up with your Pro Explorer and start building. It doesn't slump, it stays where it is supposed to be, very, very easy to work with. And as I said, it melts in like butter on the tooth. Like so. Continue the cusp buildup, cusp by cusp. Sure. More than that, using the scoop technique from your glass. Now, all of this means that Activa Bioactive, with its special these characteristics, helps seal the tooth in a worry-free manner. So this case, shared by Dr. Delfin Barquero from Costa Rica. I'm actually waiting for the COVID times to be over. He's a very genuine friend and a wizard with his hand, awesome clinical hand, awesome aesthetic hand. We can make a trip to Costa Rica, hopefully 2021. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Now, I told you all about the good parts, right? Now, there are some rants. The raves cannot be all. There has to be some rants too. So let me share the rants about Activa. I want to give you a full picture. Yes, it needs a Spencer. Without the Spencer, this material will not give its optimal potential while you are restoring. Next is, so many people pan-world have told me the wastage in the mixing tip and the metal tip as well as the where it is coming out in the walls of the mixing tip. Yes. And then I have heard it's not as radio opaque as I would like. Yeah, so these are some rants about it. Now, resin composites. It's a must at every dental office. Do we have some turning points regarding resin chemistry now? Let's take a look. Nature's magic in a dental composite. I'm very, very proud to bring Activa Presto. I'm slowly going to unfold the story. It's the first light cure composite designed to mimic the properties of natural teeth. The competing products in this range would be Fitza from Shofu and Regen from Apex. So these are the dynamic restorative materials for aesthetic dentistry, the latest bunch today. Presto was launched in September 2019 and was thrown open to dentists in America during the GNYDM 2019. I was very privileged and honored to be at the launch of this material, more so because I have been working with this material 3 years before the proper launch. It was named Blitz, it was named Flash, and I have had a privilege to work. In Asia, this material is being launched as Pronto. And the shades are available, A1, A2, A3, A3.5, and B1. And the new shades are the cervical darks, the A4 and A6. Very good for cervicals and geriatrics too. And bleach white. It's versatile, it's universal composite, kind of for all classes of cavities, good aesthetics. You can see here 3 class 5s done with Presto, not Pronto, and highly radio opaque compared to Activa, because Activa was lacking in that department. So Pronto and Presto are highly radio opaque. It's easy to place, easy to use, 2 ml syringes, no dispenser, moisture friendly. How to use Pronto? Simple. Prepare the cavity and make the pivets. Now, Activa and Pronto do very well in thin layers, and they both do not require a minimum thickness of material to achieve its physical properties. Bevel significantly increases the marginal adaptation when placing. The adaptation increase has multiple benefits. Decreased leakage, decreased post-op staining, increased aesthetic blending, and the presence of a bevel has also shown to mitigate the effect of polymerization shrinkage to a large extent. What does it mean? This means it'll again increase the seal and longevity at the marginal interface and decrease the post-op sensitivity. Etch, up to you, total or selective etch. Apply the bonding agent as per instructions. Place Pronto in 2 mm increments. This is not a bulk fill. This needs to be placed in 2 mm increments. Light cure after each layer and finish and polish. You're done. So let's show you. It's self-explanatory. Let's see. are the dynamic materials. Now here, first light cured mineral enriched composite that create a favorable environment for natural remineralization. Universal stackable, you could see. It's stackable and it stays where it is, doesn't slump. Intimately adopts to the tooth structure. It's strong, durable, and indicated for all restorative applications, including restoration of occlusal stress-bearing areas. It's light cure, fluoride releasing, moisture friendly, radio opaque with patented ionic and rubberized resin. But the magic in here is the composite with modified calcium phosphate, MCP. No, not the MCP we normally know. It is modified calcium phosphate. Now here, what does it do? It's not a traditional filler and does not exist as discrete particles. When incorporated into the resin matrix, it dissolves and becomes part of the resin phase. A study by Sorrow and Pashley report that the most recent research suggests that non-crystalline calcium and phosphate enter the collagen fibrils in a biomimetically stabilized fluidic state. Now, when demineralized dentine is covered with a flowable resin composite containing this non-crystalline calcium and phosphate and immersed in the biomimetic polyanions, the calcium and phosphate ions can slowly diffuse through any water-filled porosities with adhesives and cross the hybrid layers. This modification, this is how delivers great mineralization potential. It's like there are polyanions in the resin. Once you spread it out on the cavity, they kind of beckon the ions from the tooth. Hey, come on, be on me and start crystallizing. So when cured, the resin complex exhibits low solubility and low water absorption. This is a case done by my very dear friend, Dr. Ray Kimsey. In fact, we work together on a lot of projects and we meet up over a Zoom meeting every 10 days. So here, that's Presto that he has done. And here, I did a cuspid rise about a year back. This is not recent. Pronto, veneer on tooth number 6. That's with Pronto. It has flex because of the rubberized resin, hence works great for a cuspid rise case. That too, it's a canine guided occlusion. Been 12 months now, good aesthetics, no marginal discoloration, shine is good, function is good. Good, happy with it. It's simple to do, great handling, and unmatched aesthetics for both anterior and posterior. When we were told, that this is going to be alive, and I spoke, Kumar sir, I spoke to you that, no, I'm not prepared. I'm going to show it on a model. But luckily on the 3rd of September, just 3 days back, starting 2 days before E-Famdent, I got a case and I thought, let me try it out with Pronto. So here's a case which I did. And again, self-explanatory. So there, this was we started off, and this we finished it off. Like this. Now, these are the two kids from the same family, Activa Bioactive and Activa Pronto. And there has to be some similarities between the two because they have the same genes. The genetics are the same. So it's both are hydrophilic with patented ionic and rubberized resins, natural acidics, function like tooth, dynamic composites able to release and recharge calcium phosphate fluoride, no bis-GMA, no bisphenol A, and no BPA derivatives. When Presto, I'm talking, this is in US, when Presto was launched, there were Pulpdent dealers from all around the world who had come to attend this meeting. And then after the launch, we had a tete-a-tete with them all, a panel discussion like, and from left to right, that's yours truly, which is me, Dr. Delphin Barquero from Costa Rica, that's Ray Kimsey from Florida, that's Larry Clark, scientific head. He has just retired in Pulpdent, and that's Fred Burke, the owner of Pulpdent. Anyway, the common question was, how and why do we separate Activa? How do we market it? How do we launch it? To that, the simple answer is, Activa is the bada bhai. Yes, it is bioactive. Now, Activa Pronto or Presto, the FDA has not given the tagline of bioactive. So we cannot claim that it's bioactive, despite the fact that it can release and recharge the minerals. Now here, yeah, there are bound to be some differences too. If I take it one by one, Activa is dual cure, triple cure actually. It contains a little part of GI. It's phosphate-enriched ionic resin. It's injectable, heavy-bodied flow. It's ideal for bulk fill, and shades available are 4. No, actually 5. Why? Because the kit, there's an Activa Kids too. That's B1 plus shade. So there are actually 5 shades here. While Pronto, it's light cure only. It's calcium and phosphate enriched ionic resin. It's stackable, no slump. You have to make it, restore it 2 mm incrementally. 8 shades available, including the 2 new cervical shades, A4 and A6. Sharing a case done by our at Pulpdent, the scientific affairs consultant, Dr. Bob Lowe, Dr. Robert Lowe. So that's a pre-operative occlusion view, tooth number 3. Decay is visible upon removal of the defective restoration and after placing Activa Bioactive Restorative as a dentine replacement, okay? And then completed restoration after placing the enamel layer using Activa Presto. So these Bada Bhai, Chota Bhai can be very well used on their own or in conjunction with each other. A little about IAACD. Please block your dates. 31st October and 1st November, we are going to bring you something spectacular. We have a lineup of Tichy international faculty. You know, it's really drool-worthy names coming up. And as we develop this more and more, the hard work has started at our end. Please keep on checking the website, theiaacd.com, for updates, features, and all the points that will be gradually updated on the website and Facebook page and Twitter, whatever social media accounts we have. So please join us. This is going to be worthwhile. It's going to be absolutely rocking. So a big thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you all here today. It's a wonderful Sunday morning here. And for scientific and clinical queries and for customized online training sessions, please feel free to mail me at rumpaforyou@gmail.com. And a big, big thanks. I hope I'm sticking to the time, Kumar sir. So here I can stop sharing and up to you.